Hello everybody, my name is Wes, I'm with Fundamental Games, and I'm here today to play test a game on Tabletop Simulator called Untamed Feral Factions. Just checking out their website, I'll read out how it's described. In Untamed Feral Factions, players each take control of 3 animal factions that battle together to bring down enemy strongholds. Each faction has its own unique theme, appearance, stronghold, and playing style. Untamed Feral Factions is a fast-paced, shuffle-building card battle game that emphasizes quick play sessions and strategic thinking. You can build your decks at the start of the game, which I'll go through here. It's going to have resource placement mechanic. It's going to have stronghold abilities. There's going to be combat. There's going to be methods that are anti-combat. So they say it's a 15 to 30 minute game session with over 1,000 unique deck combinations. 10 different animal factions to play, and you only need the base set to play. So that is Untamed Feral Factions. So as you can see here on the Tabletop Simulator, we've got a board set up here. Indicates the different areas, so it's already preset as per the rulebook. And on the left hand side, you'll see that all the different animal decks were pre-sorted for us. So we had chameleons, foxes, pandas, crocodiles, rhinos, rats, tigers, rabbits, and raccoons. So those are all the available animals to play for this TTS. What I've done is I decided to go strong aggressive animals in this deck. So this deck is comprised of tigers, rhinos, and crocodiles. And then in this deck I've put together the chameleons, the rabbits, and the raccoons. And honestly I have no idea if one is going to be more powerful than the other. Never played this game, so we're going to find that out. On the right hand side we have damage tokens. So in games like Magic, creatures take damage and it kind of resets at the end of the turn. But this one is more like Keyforge, where the damage incurred on a creature stays there. And if that damage ever exceeds a creature's shield, or meets or exceeds a creature's shield, that creature will die. There's also Fury tokens, and Fury tokens are a special token that goes on creatures for different reasons, and that makes them more powerful. Which makes their attack stronger. Alright, each player also gets a stronghold for each animal type they have, so you'll always have 3 strongholds. I just randomized and put one on top, but normally you get to pick which one goes on top, so that could be part of your strategy in and of itself. You start the game with 8 cards, so I'm going to play with this player having their cards on the table, so I don't have to jump around the table. And so you start with 8 cards in your hand, but you have to pick one to put into what's called your support zone. And a support zone is different than a regular zone in that it has, it's only worth its support power, or it's worth 1 support, and I'll explain that as we go through and play. Anyhow, let's take a look what else we have on the board here. We have the keywords, so there's a couple of animal keywords, so they're going to have these special powers, much like Magic. There's keywords that always mean the same thing on different creatures. And then there is a how to play your turn card, which I'm sure I'll put to good use. So I'm going to actually rotate this one to the right, just so I remember that that's the one I want to use. Alright. And so at the beginning of the game I had to place a card in the support zone. I got to pick that as well. Being new to the game, I just picked a card that I thought made sense to put there. And now I'm going to proceed with the first turn. Actually, we could talk about the purpose of the game. The purpose of the game is to be the first one to eliminate all 3 of your opponent's strongholds, or if their deck runs out, they lose the game. I imagine, like most card games, the purpose of the game isn't really to run your opponent out of deck. It's probably to take care of the stronghold. What can we do on our turn? Well, let's take a look. On our turn, we have the ability to perform any of these actions any number of times, playing a card and attacking with an animal that is not exhausted. And then there's actions you can only perform once a turn, such as playing a card from your hand face down as a power, and power is needed to actually make your cards. You could pay 2 power to draw a card, and you can use your stronghold's ability. Okay, so first off, what does my stronghold do? My stronghold says I can pay 2 support, is what that paw icon means, to give 1 fury to an animal. So that's not an option for us right now. We don't even have an animal on the table. So power zone. This is basically if you refer to cards like Keyforge or Magic. In Magic, this is where you would put your lands. In a game like Keyforge, you don't even have mana. In this game, you need a certain amount of power to cast your spells or play your creatures. These aren't spells. It's not magic. So on the top left of each card, there's a little icon that represents what you need to be, how much power you need to expend to be able to bring this onto the table. So that one is 2, this one is 4, this one is 3. So right now I could not make a single one of these cards. So kind of at the beginning of the game, you really have to think, what do I want to play now that I could make now? And knowing that the card I put in the power zone I'm never going to get back, because that power zone is really not going to help us out right now. And you don't draw any cards till the end of the turn. You draw one card unless something gives you a different power. So again, new to the game, we're just going to pick a card. We'll say this 3 guy right here. We're going to pick this guy and put him in this power zone. What it says in the rules is you flip it, and that is now worth 1 power. So each and every turn this will generate 1 power. I don't have to put a new one each turn. So once I put it there, I don't have to think about it again, to a maximum of 5. So now I have 1 power I can use. So let's take a look at my hand. I could make a tracker's compass, which lets me play around with the top of my deck, or I could make an archer. So I'm an aggressive deck. I'm going to use that 1 power to make this archer. So he goes into my play zone. All right. Oh, let's put him here. Just going to quickly check the rules here. Resources, power card. So he's going to enter play what they call exhausted. Again, referring back to Magic, that means he is tapped. I don't know if there's a quick way to rotate cards 90 degrees or not, but I'll do it the old-fashioned way. So he is exhausted until the end of the turn, and then it's got to be a 90-degree button. I'll have to learn that one of these days. Okay. Then I cannot do anything else on my turn, I don't think. Well, actually I could. Play a card, I did. Attack with an animal that isn't exhausted, I can't. Play a card from your hand face down as a power, I did. Pay 2 power to draw a card, I can't. And use your Stronghold's ability, which is pay 2 source to give a fury to an animal, which I cannot. So I've done everything I can do on my turn. I go to my upkeep phase, ready all exhausted cards. So I'm going to rotate that back to the left. Then place the top card of your deck into your stronghold. Ready all exhausted cards, draw a card. Place the top card of your deck into your stronghold. Whenever one of your cards is defeated or discarded. Interesting. I did not notice that one in the rules. Main phase, you must. The starting player skips steps 2 and 3. Okay, so we don't have to do that. Place 1 card from your hand face up into your support area. All right. So I think the wording might be wrong here. Place the top card of your deck into your it says your stronghold, but when I look at the rules, it actually says into your support area, which makes more sense. So at the end of each turn, except for the first player, I don't have to do this time. I would put a card into my support zone. So you're always building your support. Each card in your support zone is worth 1 support. So I get to draw a card, and that is my turn. So we're going to go over to this player's turn. Now ignore the cards that are in my hand. Ignore the cards that are in my hand. So we have a lab deceptionist, an expert alchemist, a white fur infantry, an assassin, unfinished art professor Noctis, but looks pretty awesome. Dr. Dolores, and an empowering salve. So what do I have to do on my turn? Well, I can see what my stronghold does. I can pay 2 support to replace the damage on an animal with a fury instead. And what can I make in my hand? I can't make that. Can't make that. Alright, we're going to take Dolores and put it into the power zone. I'm sure we'll get more. There's more than one of some of these cards in the deck, so you don't have to worry about never getting another Dr. Dolores again, for example. So now I have 1 power. I could play my power card. So arrive. This gains surge or gains 1 fury. You may pay 2 support to do both. So he's a 1/2, and if I look at my opponent, 1/2, and he has a 1/1. So I may just want to charge this archer before he can. Oh, he's got last words. Last words say when the animal is placed into your stronghold, and when creatures die in this game, they go into your stronghold. So everything gives you more support. That's a nice mechanic. I like it already reading about it, even though I haven't played it. So last words deal 1 damage to up to 2 animals. So if I kill his archer, he's going to kill my rabbit. Wow. Either way, I'm going to use my 1 power, put my rabbit into play. And what can I do with my rabbit? Arrive. This gains surge or it gains a fury. Alright. What does a fury do, folks? Well, let's double check that rulebook one more time. Fury token. A token that grants the animal it is placed on +1 attack for as long as the token is on the animal. So I could gain surge and attack right away, or I could gain fury and not attack right away. I'm going to use surge, and I'm going to rotate. I'm going to attack, but I'm not going to attack his animal. I'm going to attack his fortress there. So in the rulebook it says that during your attack phase you can attack with one of your ready animals. To attack, choose 1 ready animal you control, move it exhausted, then choose the target. It can be your opponent's stronghold or an opponent's animal. When attacking an opponent's stronghold, place damage equal to your attack value of your animal onto the stronghold. So that's what I've done. If I was attacking an animal, we'd both do our power damage to each other, and if I had attacked him, I would have killed his guy, but then his last words power would have killed me. So just going for the stronghold. Okay, done the attack. Can I do anything else? No. At the end of my turn, I must put a card into my source pile. So shift skill assassin. Give an animal +2. You must have. You may pay 3 to have that animal not take damage when attacking this turn. I'm going to put that into my source zone. Okay, and then I draw a card, flip it over, found ourselves a War Council, and that is the end of my turn. Ready, I'll exhaust a card, so I ready the rabbit that I never tapped. And we move on back to the aggressive player's turn. So you don't draw cards at the beginning. I can play a card, attack with I can put a hand face down to power, pay 2 power to draw a card. Alright. We're going to take this compass because I don't feel like sifting through my deck anyway. Flip that over, and now I have 2 power. Is there anything I can make with 2 power? Absolutely. I could make a Toothblade Magus. When he arrives, pay 3 support to give this surge. I don't have 3 support. When this defeats an animal, and if it has leftover damage, give an animal 2 fury. Ooh, I'm being aggressive. I'm going to pay that 2 power and make that tiger. Rawr. Then I can attack if I like, so I could do the same thing. I could attack his guy, and his guy would kill me, and then I'd end up killing his. Or I can, so I'm going to say this guy's tapped, and I'm also going to attack right for the strongholds. Why not? So, bam. I've attacked the stronghold, then those 2 are going to untap. I'm not paying 2 power to draw a card. I can't use my stronghold ability yet, so I must now place the top card of my deck into my stronghold after I draw a card. So draw a card and then place the top card of my deck into my stronghold. And then it's the next player's turn. So this player, going on their player sequence, can play a card and attack with an animal that isn't exhausted. They want another card into their power zone as well. So Professor Noctis, double the fury. I might want to save Professor Noctis. We're going to get rid of this Shift Scale Assassin, turn it into a power card. Pretty sure playing a power every turn for the first 5 turns is going to be critical in this game, but I guess I shouldn't assume. I can play something that costs 2. A Lab Deceptionist. When it arrives, I can pay 2 support to choose an animal with fury on it, and this card gains fury equal to that of the chosen animal. So what happens is I pay my 2 power, which I have. I put this card into play. Then I can pay 2 source. Now the question I have is, we'll double check the rulebook. Paying for source. Let's double check this here. Source resources. Support is used to activate powerful card abilities. You automatically gain support at the end of your phase by placing a card into your support area. Card in your support area counts as 1 support. Alright. Cards in your support area can be used to pay for support costs. Support costs are indicated by a number followed by the paw symbol. You can pay a support cost by removing the specified number of support in your support area from the game. So, going back to here, what that means is the cards that I have here actually don't matter. Other than knowing what I've pulled out of my deck, but I would take those 2 cards out of the game, and there is an actual out of game pile, I guess, so I can grab these, put them in the out of game pile, flip it over. So I've used my 2 support as per this, and I get to choose an animal with fury on it. I choose this one, which has 1 fury on it. Oh no, he doesn't have 1 fury on it. Okay, so we're not using those. Misread. If he had fury on it, then I would be able to. Either way, he has surge, so he's a 2/2. He can attack with surge. He could attack this guy. This defeats an animal, and if it has leftover damage, give an animal 2 fury. And deal 1 damage. Okay. So we're going to attack with both. The rabbit's going to attack this. And I could use support here. Pay 2 support, replace 1 damage on an animal with 1 fury. No, not going to do that. So the rabbit attacks, and then this guy is going to attack this guy. So the other choice you have on attacking is choosing if you want to attack one of your opponent's guys. So I didn't use the arrive, but I had surge, so I can attack the turn I play. I attack with my 2 attack, so I'm going to do 2 attack to this guy, which will kill him. He's going to do 3 attack to my guy, which will kill him. When this guy defeats an animal, and if he has leftover damage, which he does, give an animal 2 fury. That's unfortunate. So I have inadvertently given this crocodile 2 fury by pissing off his tiger. This goes to his support area. This goes to my support area because nothing goes in a discard pile in this game. The rabbit is tapped. I've already played a power card, so I could pay 2 support to draw a card, which I'm not going to. Or I could use my stronghold ability, which I'm not going to. So then I draw a card, and then I put the top card of my deck into my support pile. Alright, back to the mean guy's turn, the aggressive animals. So what do we have in our hand here? Corrine the Huntsman, Toothblade, another Jungle Prowler. I like that guy, he made this guy a lot stronger. We're going to put the... Oh, I like that. Deal 2 damage to a stronghold for last words. That's good too. I'm going to toss the 2 animals with 4. We're not going to be able to make them both for a while, so let's put this in here. Okay, we're up to 3 power now. For 3 power, I can play a Heart Piercer Arrow. It is an item. 2 items enter the play exhausted. Back to the rule book, folks. Item. Items have a single use effect and are placed into their owner's stronghold after they're resolved. Cards. Generate power. Sorry about that. Play a card. Each turn you can play a card. If you played an item card, perform the card's effects on it, then put it into your support area. So when you're playing an item is almost like a magic spell. It's not something that you can use. If you played an item card, put it into play. Yeah, so an item card stays in your hand, and when you use it, you're basically activating it. So I deal 2 damage to an animal. If that animal is defeated, I can deal 1 damage to up to 2 other animals. So I pay my 3. I deal 2 damage to the rabbit. He's got no other animals. The rabbit goes to the source pile. Dead rabbit. And then this goes to my source pile. Alright. So I played that card. I've used my 3 power, so I can't make any of these other guys. I do have, this one says I can pay 5 source instead of paying this card's power cost, but I don't have 5 source yet. I say yet. Yeah, I don't have 5 source yet. Give it Animal Fury, deal 1 damage to up to 2 animals. This guy's got 3 attack. He's going to attack this stronghold since it's currently got nothing defending it. So 3, 4. And we're just going to throw those there. Actually, I can pay this 2 Fury. Got those on the wrong side, but that's okay. I'm going to pay 2 Fury before I attack to give him 1, or pay 2 support to give this guy 1 more. So he's actually going to do an extra damage. So we're now up to 6, and this fortress has 7 defense. So 1 more and that fortress is gone. Alright, Super Crocodile's doing some damage. Now I draw a card. Flip it. And then I put a card into here. And that is the end of my turn. Now we're back to the docile creature's turn. Raccoons and chameleons and rabbits, oh my. So, what are we going to do? We've got an alchemist. Arrive, choose an animal, gains fury. Nah. Arrive, you can return a friendly animal in play to your hand. Don't have one. Deal 2 damage to an animal. If it defeats it, give an animal surge. And double the amount of fury on an animal. Okay. So, no matter what, we have to take care of this crocodile. It has a 1 defense, so it's really easy to beat, but just have to find a way to get to it. So that's a 2. This would kill it. Could give an animal surge, doesn't really matter. So a carrot saber. So we're going to put the war cancel into my power zone. We're going to play the carrot saber as a 1-use item. So when I play that item, I deal 2 damage to an animal, and then this goes to my source zone, or support zone. So this guy's taking 2 damage. He can deal 1 damage to up to 2 animals. There are no animals, so he just goes bye-bye. His tokens go to the wayside. Goodbye, Crocodile with Fury. So I've used my 3 power for the turn. I've got 6 source support now, so you can see support grows quickly. But I can't do anything else. I can actually, you know what I can? I can get rid of 2 support cards as per this to draw 1 card. So flip that over. What did I find? Another Dr. Dolores. Okay, but I've already used my power for the turn, so my turn is over. When my turn's over, I draw a card, flip that, I put a card into my support zone, flip that. I don't know if there's going to be any cards that do stuff in the support zone, because that could be a nice twist on the mechanic, but I haven't seen any yet. Got another rabbit. Okay. So then that player's turn is over. We're on to player 1's turn, the aggressor. We're up to 3 there. 2 damage to 2 animals each. We have a 2. We have a 2. Arrive. You may pay 3 to give this surge. So let's first put this into play for 2 and spend 1, 2, 3 support. Goes into my exile pile. So I pay 3 support and he has surge. So it just means he's got haste. He can attack this turn. So I attack. When I attack, this thing takes 2 damage. So we take all these tokens away. This is out of the game, and now this guy is onto his second stronghold, where he can pay 2 support to deal damage to an animal or to a stronghold. So white for command, that's the rabbit stronghold. This guy's done his job. Technically he's tapped right now. I still have 1 unused power, but I can discard a card to make another power. So discard that card in there, and I have 4 power, or 2 power left. So I'll play this guy. He enters exhausted. And that is all I can do this turn. So I draw a card. That goes to my hand. This card here goes into there. And we're laughing because I still have a stronghold, and he's on his second one. Alright, the little rabbits are good. It's your turn. What are you going to do? Well, we can pay 2 support to do a damage to an animal or stronghold. Actually, I could do 2 damage. I could kill that guy or that guy. So if we are just going to spend all 4 of this support because we're worried. 1, 2, 3. Oh no, you can only use a stronghold's power once per turn. Okay. So group these together. That's 1 damage that we're doing to this guy. Why am I doing that? Well, because if he dies in combat, he gives people fury, which we experienced with the crocodile. Okay, so I used that power for the turn. I can discard a card into my power zone. So we're going to discard the little rabbit, flip it over. I've got 4 power now, so I can make a Dr. Dolores, which is a 4/5. That's pretty big. When it arrives, I could pay 4 support to play a card with 3 or less. I don't have 4 support. This guy doubles the amount of fury on an animal. Whenever a friendly animal gains fury, deal 1 damage to a stronghold. Okay, we're going to use the 4 power and make this guy, because the other guy I want to use next turn when I actually have support to trigger his ability. Okay, so he enters play. He's exhausted. He's a 3/5. There is a power called Guardian, but I haven't seen it yet. It might be on some different cards. Guardian means that your creatures can't go around you. They have to attack your creature before they can hit your stronghold. I digress. Draw a card. So I just found a raccoon, a selfless scientist, and then a card goes in my support zone. Don't think I'm missing anything. So we go back to the aggressor's turn. So they're down to 2 cards. 2 supports. War drums, you can pay 2 supports instead of this card's power cost. All animals you play this turn come into play with a fury. And then there's a bone hammer, which is an item. It deals 2 damage to up to 2 animals each. So I think we're gonna walk around and attack his stronghold. So tap that to attack his stronghold for 2 damage. Tap that to attack his stronghold for 3 damage. So that stronghold's taking 5 damage, and there's nothing you can do about it. And then I could spend 2 source to draw a card. I keep calling it source, but it's called support. Give fury to an animal, no. Pay 5, deal. I'm going to put this into that zone, And I'm actually not going to play my bone hammer right now. I keep that in my hand. Gonna draw a card. Found a compass again. Put a card into here. And that's my turn. So I'm staying aggressive on this opponent. You can see he's already taken 5 damage. He's gonna have to pick away my creatures, otherwise he's gonna die. So we go to this player. He has a Dolores, an Alchemist, and a Scientist. See, Scientist has guard. He puts himself in front of the thingy. He's a good one to have, I think. Especially the condition I'm in. Arrive, choose an animal that this gains fury equal to the animal's base attack value. Oh, I can't make both of these though. Oh, but if I made this? Okay, so watch this little combo. Sometimes these little creatures have tricks, looks like. So I spend my 4 power, I haven't built up to 5 yet, to make this card. When I make this card, it has Arrive. I can pay all 4 of my support. All 4 of my support. When I pay my 4 support, I can play a card with 3 or less from my hand without paying its power cost. So that came in free, and then when that arrives, I can choose an animal, and this gains fury equal to that animal's base attack value. So I can then choose Dr. Dolores, and I can gain 1, 2, 3, 4 power. So this guy all of a sudden went from being a 1/3 to being a 5/3. Impressive moves. But those 2 are exhausted. I'm not tapping them. Keep that guy in my hand. This guy can attack. Whenever a friendly animal gains fury, deal a damage to a stronghold. So, good question here I'll have to ask is, I gain fury. Did I gain fury once or did I gain fury 4 times? I'm going to make the assumption that I gain fury once. So I do a damage to their stronghold. Wabamo. Even though it was for a total of 4, it's still only once that I gained the fury. Whenever you play an animal, you may move a fury from this card to that animal. So I haven't played another animal yet. Lots of back and forth going on here. It's kind of neat. Like in these scientific little chameleons. Okay, I digress. I'm all out of support, so I can't use that even if I wanted to. I've used my 4 power. So we'll go to the end of my turn. I draw a card. Another raccoon for later. Draw a support card. And that's the end of this guy's turn. So we're back to the aggressor who suddenly feels a little overwhelmed. This player had to decide if they wanted to attack. 3/5. So 3/5 could attack that guy or that guy. So he attacks this guy, kills him, goes to the support zone. This guy does 3 damage to this guy. Okay, this guy's still alive. And this guy's power doesn't trigger because he had no leftover damage. Okay, now this guy's turn. So I've got 2 cards in my hand. They're not, they've got some power. So I could pay 5 source or my 5 power. Play my 5 power and I deal 2 damage to 2 animals. So I'm going to do 2 damage to this animal. 1, 2. And this animal, Perfection Noctis, who's already taken 3, so she, it looks like, according to the art, she has some brassiere on, goes to the support zone. Alright, then this card goes to my support zone. Then let's take a look at my support. I can pay 2 to give a fury to an animal. So we get rid of those, give this guy a fury. Don't have any power left to use, so I can't use my compass even if I wanted to. But I can attack. I have a 3 attack now. So I could attack this guy or this guy or I'm going to attack the stronghold. Now stronghold damage doesn't carry over to the next one. So when I do my 3 damage and it's already at 5, I'm just going to finish off this stronghold. I'll double check the rules, make sure I'm reading that right. So when you attack, if a card ever has equal or more damage tokens on it than its health value, the card is defeated and placed into their support area. Yeah, so it's not like I can carry over my support damage to the next one. So last one is the Darmas Cold, again has 7 defense, and this one might give this opponent some powers. Okay, so I've attacked, this guy's exhausted, I can't play any more cards, I'm going to draw a card, I can't use it this turn, and I'm going to put a card into my support zone. My turn's over, my guy untaps, on to the little creatures that are actually turning out to be more aggressive than the aggressive creatures. So we've got 4 power. We're going to play a couple of raccoons, and that's gonna, so you can see these raccoons have guard. It means that the aggressors have to kill the raccoons before they can get to the stronghold. Alright, no cards left to cast. I've got 4 power, nothing to do with it. I could spend my 2 support to draw a card, so let's do that. So I draw a card. This is in my hand. I have a General Greycoat. Oh, he's the biggest, baddest rabbit animal general there is, and I can't even make him because I got nothing to put in my power zone to cast him. So maybe next turn, if there is a next turn. Alright, so can't play any more cards, can't use my support, which leaves me just to combat. Those 2 are exhausted. This guy is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attack. But whenever I play an animal, I can move a Fury from this card to that card. So I could have moved a Fury to that and that if I wanted to, make them 1/2s. But I am not going to. Actually, we'll move one of them over. Why not? Okay. Let me attack. Not going to kill that guy because I don't want to do damage to my stronghold. So I'm going to attack this guy's stronghold for 4, and 4 is 8 damage. So the first 4 damage is going to kill this stronghold. Goodbye. Second 4 damage is going to go on to this stronghold. So these guys are exhausted, these guys are not, or they are but can't do anything. So that is the end of the turn. Draw a normal card, put a card into the support area, and back to this guy. Feeling sorely overwhelmed, 4 creatures on the battlefield, 2 of which are guards, so we can't even get through to the final stronghold now. Got a war drum and a tracker's compass. And this here says pay 3, trigger the last words ability of a friendly animal in play or in your support zone. Oh, last words, 1 damage to up to 2 animals. I think we found a note here, folks. Pay 3 support. Okay, take these, group it together, throw them in the garbage. I paid 3 support. Oh, gosh. Yeah. Pay my 3 support. Then I use this guy's last word ability to deal 1 damage to up to 2 animals. Oh, maybe I overshot that one. I thought they had 1 each. Take those back. Those are all in the support zone. Okay. Okay, so that's not going to do enough. Pay 3 to draw both cards. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck. May pay 2 instead of 1 on those. Okay, so I'm going to pay 1 power to make this thing. This says, look at the top 2 cards of my deck, draw 1, put the other on top of my deck. So I'm going to get that card and that card. We have a War Drum and a Gold Scale Archer. That one goes on the bottom of my deck. Sure, probably never see that. I could have paid to draw the War Drums, but I don't think I needed them. Okay, this guy goes to my hand. I have 4 power left. I can play the Gold Skull Archer for 1. Becomes exhausted. That goes into my source pile. I can pay 3 support to trigger the last words of friendly animal in play or my support zone. Deal 2 damage to a stronghold. So I can use these 3, put them in here, and I can trigger this guy's power. So I can do 2 damage to a stronghold. Because really, in this game, we're about killing the stronghold. I can't get through all those little raccoons anyway. So we do 2 damage to the stronghold. Excellent. This guy can't attack. This guy can attack, but he has to attack one of these guys. So he attacks and kills that guy. This guy doesn't take any damage. This guy can't attack this turn because he's exhausted. I could pay 2 support to draw a card, but I'm not going to because I want to be able to trigger this. So I'll draw my free card and put a card into here. Alright, back to the gentle creature's turn. So they can give an animal +2 attack till the end of the turn. We're going to put this in the power zone and bring out the rabbit. Now another animal comes into play. You can move a fury from this card to that animal. So we can take a fury and put it onto this guy. So now he's a 7/4. When he arrives, he can give another animal 2 fury or exhaust an animal. You may pay 3 to do both. So I can give any animal 2 fury. So we say, here, you're furious. Giving it to this guy because he can pass on his fury. Okay. Now what do? Well, we charge in with this guy and this guy. This guy's going to do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage. This guy's going to do 4 damage. So we do this guy first. He does this 4 damage. This goes to the support pile. This guy does 7 damage, destroying the hunting grounds, ending the game. Wow. The chameleons have completely annihilated the rhinos, tigers, and crocodile deck. So hopefully I played all that correctly. I had some fun learning about the different mechanics. You can see some of these interactions really worked well with each other. And I can imagine that this tiger, crocodile, rhino deck probably would have had some fun as well if the right sequence came out or I got those power cards out a bit earlier. So that's just one example of one game. Every game would play out differently because, well, if you look, there's still 22 cards and 24 cards in these decks, so we only got through a fraction of them. We started at 45, and there's 3 full decks that weren't even played with, or parts of decks, the animal teams, if you will. The strongholds could have been used more or less, could have done more or less with the support function. So. And I like the card drawing mechanism. I mean, you get your 1 card a turn. It's at the end of the turn, so you can think of what you want to do before your next turn. But you can also, at any game, pay for cards. When you talk about games like Magic, there's such a thing as mana issues or being LAN screwed, so to speak. In this game, you have complete control over when you're going to play your source cards, your power cards. So you can only ever get 5. Nobody can have 50 mana or 50 power. You're on the same playing field. There's a lot of balance there from what I can see. So I guess I would learn over a sequence of multiple plays how well this stronghold functionality is to destroy 3 strongholds, and if there is any win condition to actually take out somebody's deck. So for Untamed, Feral Factions, I enjoyed this first playthrough. Again, just playing against myself, so I'm sure it's much more fun against a real opponent when you can poke jabs at them and throw a little commentary in there. But if you look at some of this artwork, it's pretty fantastic. I've seen this on Instagram as well. Now, my computer doesn't do it justice. I'm sure the HD graphics that you would see on the actual card printouts would be pretty awesome. Have a bit different color. But yeah, that's the game. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching Fundamental Games presentation of Untamed, Feral Factions, and hope to see you again in future videos.